Hey guys, welcome back to the Laid Back Homestead. I'm Crystal, and today we have a garden cleanup, garden refresh, time to plan out the rest of the brassicas. We had a slight frost come through, so we just need to get rid of all the things that didn't make it. So let's get started. Now, one of the things I want to do for sure is collect seeds from all those flower heads. You can see, just pop them off right there in your hand. Oh, it's hard to say goodbye, but it was time. We've got a ton of seeds and all of this space now I can plant out. I'm also going to come harvest those black-eyed peas that really didn't do much. One of the things that didn't make it while I was in the hospital having surgery was all of our gugutza or kukuza squash. So we had several on the vines and we just went around and harvested them. Again, we're harvesting just for seed, and cleaned up some of the messy vines. They were really starting to look a little trashy. And since I am pretty limited with my mobility, I was kind of just walking around and cleaning up the loose things that I could find. And we actually broke, or we had one of our pepper plants break, so I was able to start harvesting some peppers. If you live in an area where you deal with squash vine borers, I have to say the gugutza or kukuza squash was amazing. It outperformed every other type of squash. It laughed in the face of the vine borers. If you harvest a squash while it's really young and tender, it's much more like a zucchini, or you can let them get, much heavier and hardier on the vine and treat them more like a winter squash if you let them sit. But this was really the only squash that I was able to get outside of my greenhouse this year, because the squash vine borers are just absolutely terrible in my area. And these seeds I got from Baker's Creek, so they're not hard to find if it's something that you are, wanting to give a try. The yellow zinnias in my garden also grew really well this year, so I went ahead and started collecting the seed heads from them. I didn't get a whole lot of seed out of this plant, so I'm hoping I still have some left over from the original packaging, because it was still in full bloom before I went into surgery, and then when I came out, it was gone. Since I'm saving seeds, I'm going to start taking red ripe peppers for next year. I'm gonna save seeds from my pepperoncini, as well as my Thai chili peppers. These performed so well, but I really only need one of these plants next year. Alrighty, part 1 is finished. You can see all of the vines are gone for the most part, and it's opened up a lot of planting space for me. We do still have to come out and harvest. Finally getting decent sized poblano peppers. But we do still need to come out and do a general harvest. As I mentioned earlier, the only things we harvested today, I mean, these peppers is just huge. But the only thing we're harvesting today was for seeds, storing purposes. I am happy to report that my tomatoes have fresh growth that are not frost damaged. So that's exciting. I already missed my 8-foot Cosmo. It's just not the same. But got other things we want to do. I do think we'll come through after we harvest these ties and pull that guy too. And then I'll have a lot more room to plant. I'm still trying to decide what I want to do with this bed. If I want to leave the things or wait until I can harvest at least my watermelons. This bed too, probably yank out pepper plant once we harvest, but want to harvest all the basil. And this bed, all the zinnias are gone, so that we can plant out. Alrighty, day 2, part 2 of our refresh is going to be swapping out some things in our hydroponic system, and I think finally tackling and saying goodbye to these grow bags. So if you followed my channel for any length of time, you know that I absolutely adore growing hydroponically. I do this 2 ways. I have a Dutch bucket system or a Beto bucket system, but I also have DWC buckets, which is deep water culture. And that doesn't normally come with a reservoir tote, but to make my life easier, I just keep a regular old 15, 20 gallon tote off to the side, and I mix up my nutrients in batches. And that way when I go out, if I see one of my buckets looks a little low or the plant's looking a little droopy, I can top up and I don't have to sit there and mix up individual batches of nutrient solution, which saves me a lot of time and effort. And I really do like growing hydroponically. I am expanding that system next year, but really it's because I have to deal with bacterial wilt in my soil. And once one of my garden beds is infected, I cannot grow anything in the solanaceous family. So no peppers, no tomatoes, no eggplants, no peanuts, you know, all the fun things we want to grow. So hydroponics, if you have a soil-borne illness or a soil-borne problem, I should say, hydroponics can save you of that. It's just one less thing you have to worry about. So I have all of these that need to be planted out. So ultimately, I think we've decided we're just going to take all the peppers out, because I do still have one pepper overwintering, bell pepper, in my greenhouse that's producing. So we'll leave that guy, and then I'll be able to come in, and once he's done gotten all the roots out, we will plant all of these out with more brassicas. Now these guys are looking a little bit sad because their reservoir had gotten empty, but you just saw me refilling them, so they should be perking back up shortly. So while my husband's working on the hydroponics, I am going to start working on my self-watering buckets and getting this monstrosity under control. Not sure how much you can see with the shade, but it's pretty ridiculous looking at this point. So when we emptied out this bucket, the entirety of its soil came with the roots. So just showing you what the inside of my self-watering buckets look like. These are all water bottles that have holes poked in them. So it's just a recycle build. But in order to use this again, obviously I have to put fresh soil potting mix or something in there. So he's moving my self-watering buckets where our sunny spot in the yard is so that I can plant in those as I see fit. All right, we are refreshed and ready to plant out. The question is, what do I want to do? So since these plants were started the traditional way in soil, in order to put them into my hydroponic system, we need to try to get as much of the dirt off of the roots as possible, just because I've had issues in the past with my pump getting clogged and things like that. So I try to keep the reservoir as clean as possible. So we just have a little bucket here of water and we dunk the plants in, kind of give them a nice little toss around and tease as much of the soil off of the roots that we can, and then into the system it goes. Now with my brassicas, broccolis and cauliflowers and Brussels sprouts, I tend to only do one plant per Dutch bucket, but with just about everything else I grow, I typically will push the limits and do 2 of each plant per Dutch bucket. I don't know why I'm a little scared to do 2 of these. I know how big the cauliflower and broccolis will get, and maybe I'm just kind of thinking I can't really imagine having 2 of them per bucket. But if that's something someone has tried, let me know. Right now, this tends to work out because soon I will be able to harvest broccoli and replant well before spring. Once we were done planting out in our Dutch bucket system, I realized that reservoir was actually low as well. And that one I believe is 27 gallons. So I went and mixed up nutrient solution for that while my husband got started pruning back this wild jungle of a grow bag system that we had going on. And the last real chore of the day is my squirrel prevention. The best squirrel prevention I have found is to keep my bird feeders filled. One of them the squirrels can access, the other one they really can't. But I like to keep these things filled, especially this time of year. I'm dealing with squirrels digging in my beds, and I find that sometimes just having this off to the side away from my main garden bed at least keeps them busy. Honeybee wants my harvest. Not too bad for a garden cleanup day. Some peppers, can save more seeds, as well as all of our good-goods. All right, everybody's perked up now that they've gotten their water, and the hydroponic system is now completely refreshed. This is my twin broccoli. I'm really hoping I get a second head. That would be so cool. We have Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, more Brussels sprouts. This, I'm honestly not sure what it is. This is Brussels sprouts right here. And then we have cauliflower, and I believe another cauliflower, as well as our tomato, which we are growing the Brad's Atomic grapes. You can see I've got some clusters in there, some up there. So we'll see if we get any tomatoes off of that. And then our bag situation is pretty empty. We did leave this peanut in here. I must have planted them too late this season, but we'll see if we get something. These are all cleared up, but if you've been following along, you know that this is all going to be turning into a hydroponic system for spring. So I'm just not sure if I want to plant anything in these right now, or if I want to hold back and wait. I don't know. I do still have a lot of brassicas I can put out, broccoli, cauliflowers. I can throw more carrots out, so we'll see. Not sure yet where we're going to go with that. This is another peanut. That doesn't look like it's doing so good. Well, guys, it's the end of day 2 garden cleanup refresh. I have a ton of seeds I need to sort, and I have a ton of seeds I want to start. So that will be coming shortly. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're into gardening and homesteading content, I encourage you to subscribe. And until next time, stay blessed.